All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and non binary, interplanetary, intergalactic time travelers. We salute you. This is Oliver, and I'm in a bunker I like to call Studio 72. Just wanted to do some current events. I'm just starting to get comfortable with this StreamYard. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about a couple of things. There's a CME that after 2 weeks of things being quiet, the sun went boosh. And then I also saw on that same page that there was an asteroid that hit, I think, outside of Germany, Berlin. We'll take a look at that. That's on the spaceweather.com link. But first, let me open up with this tasty music here. I love to start with music. I like to end with music, you know, right? That's life right there. You start with music and you end with music. It's the way it should be. All right. How about that nice smooth beat? I can almost hear seagulls or a bird chirping in the background. Can you hear that? Was that just me? It was like a far off kind of a that's so powerful and like invoking the beach and this whole play set of techno chill has got a number of beach type of in the listing. So that was Fioretti or Fiorecci San Paul, and that was 5 months ago. Deep House. It's from Discovery Place on SoundCloud. Link is in the notes. I put it in the comment there, but I'm not sure how much of that you can actually see. Like I said, I'm still kind of getting used to this brand new. It's brand new for me being behind the platform. Being here navigating all of this. It's totally different. The world that I see right now is totally different than what you're seeing, right? I mean, you understand that as if you've ever done any content, but each of the platforms all have a little bit different. It's like driving a different car. If you've got a higher horsepower, the clutch is different, right? You're going to burn the tires. You got to get a whole used to a clutch of a Corvette versus something else. So it is kind of the nature of it. So that beat there. Now, the one thing that we wanted to take a look at is this space weather. Now, space weather, that link is in there. And there's a couple of things that have happened that I thought were kind of interesting to bring up. The first one is a small asteroid just hit Earth. Now, this just got updated here from a couple hours ago. It wasn't there when I was reading it, just earlier today. I try to read this check in on this spaceweather.com like every day, if you can, because it's got the X flares, solar flares, and you'll see here in just a second after we get past this asteroid that the Earth-directed CME, and they've got some cool video there. So during the late hours of January 20th, which is right now. Now, with this website, I think it's Switzerland or Sweden. So they're technically the 21st. Another weird time travel dynamic. It's kind of strange, but it is what it is. I mean, what are you going to do? During the late hours of January 20th, Hungarian astronomer Kürtszén Karnaski discovered a new asteroid. 3 hours later, it hit Earth. Wait, what? Disintegrating in the atmosphere not far from Berlin, January 24th. What? Oh, well, I don't know. The meteor-wide space rock, since named 2024 PX1, is thought to have been completely destroyed. Amazingly, Italian astronomer Lucia Buzzi managed to photograph it here just before it hit. So I guess that's it there. I don't know if you can see that, but that's right where that's at. So not much of a fancy picture there, but that's so. And then the Earth directed CME, it was news to me. I had no idea. I just looked and I was like, wait, what? An asteroid just hit now outside, not far from Berlin? It's funny because I was just listening to this Berlin DJ going on and on about these different Berlin this and Berlin that. And I was like, what a weird coincidence, how things work like that. Earth-directed CME breaking almost 2 weeks of quiet. It's been way chilled out after one of the hottest solar cycles in many years. Like they were even saying we're on a trajectory of like 15 years of intensity. A magnetic filament erupted on the sun yesterday, which is right now, January 20th, hurling a CME almost directly towards Earth. So you got to see here, it didn't look all that intense to me, but if you can see that there, that's what's going on. I mean, it's coming out all around, but this right in here. So we can actually look right at the filament right here. If you can see that. These are satellites. Wow, look at this. Look at that, just boosh. See, that's not what's coming towards us, but that happened too. The same time. The solar disk right here, this is pointed right at us. So you can see all that plasma and nitrogen and those filaments when they're like that. You can almost, this looked like it must have been a much bigger hole. Or maybe the blast helped bring it into a much bigger hole. But God, look at this. It's just really impressive. I'm always impressed that they get these images like this. So that's coming towards. It didn't look really intense, but that's still going to affect people. I mean, you can't deny that. You can't deny that there's geomagnetic energy that is coming out of that at 500 kilometers a second, or whatever that calculation was there, which they do have that on the space weather. That's bringing geomagnetic energy. It's coming to the Earth and it's disrupting, and we know it's disrupting. How do we know? Because the beautiful light show that the aurora photographers go bananas for. And I love to see their work. I can't imagine what it would be in the field chasing these waves of green and reds and all these different colors. It's got to be really powerful because the photographs and the images are really powerful. That's the plus side. Is like an artistic, photographic. There's this whole culture, really, this whole new culture. It's probably always been there, but the culture of it. But I've noticed a lot of young youth really getting into the beauty and magic of it. And I think that's really powerful, if you ask me, for whatever that's worth. But what the hell was I going to talk about the culture of it for? Oh, the negative. So the plus, the benefits, and then the negatives. And I don't mean to sound it like that using that word, but it is what it is. It can knock communications out. We're in World War IV right now. If you haven't noticed, very, very concerned about that. That is deep on my heart and my mind when I'm reading status field reports coming in of exchanging assassinations. The It's out of control. It's off the hook. We got Houthis firing, and now you've got Iran, and then Pakistan, we're dealing with nuclear states here. It's not a joke. And I feel like people are so distracted intentionally, including myself. I remember like sitting and thinking earlier this afternoon, I was like, we're on the brink of a nuclear holocaust. And there's so much other things going on, distracting us, that we're not really grasping. I don't know who's grasping it. I hope there's some more people out there grasping the situation. But we got to step up. This is way beyond standing with Palestine and free Palestine. I mean, those are all great, noble causes. This is way beyond that. This is about we're on the edge of nuclear exchanges and a nuclear holocaust, a nuclear winter. And I get that creepy feeling that there is some sort of elitist kind of deep state global kind of whatever you want to, it all sounds crazy to normies, but whatever you want to define that, it seems like war is what they want. It's a provoke, and that breaks my heart. That's really alarming. It's just been slaughter after slaughter. Hundreds of thousands of Ukraine Nazis, probably a couple 100,000 Russians killed. Tens of thousands of women and children in Gaza, and thousands of Israelis, and now we're looking at Lebanon and Syria and Iran, and they're exchanging. Now if they're hitting actual military leaders, it feels a lot more like rules of engagement of war, as insane as that sounds, because it's like war is anarchy and lunacy. And is there any rules? Actually, there is. There's supposed to be laws and rules. You're not supposed to bomb the shit out of women and children in the Gaza Strip, for example, of possible war crimes that we've seen South Africa lodge against Israel in the International Criminal Court. That's a whole nother case. But I got sidetracked on the war because it's so dominating my thinking. It's so dominating the empathic connection, anyone and everyone. You can tell people when like AJ on InfoWars or others, the like I'm talking about like independents and people on Rumble and all these different people. I follow so many different people and drop in on them almost every day. And you can tell the people that are empathic. You can feel it. You can see it on their face. That just how close that we are to this devastation. This isn't just firing rockets and fireworks off and and we're all good and people get to go home. No, that's not what we're on the brink of. It's irreversible damage, and it's going to kill probably a couple billion people if we don't watch our steps here and put these other warmongering people, put them in check. It's watching their steps. So my battery's going to go out here. But the can I get the charger? The there was just one other thing I wanted to talk about here before I wrap it up, but I'm going to need that charger. And it's in the other area there. There's can I get the charger? Um so the World Economic Forum, these oh man, can you put that in for me? These people are like what are you talking about with which one was it? I've got a couple of clips here. This one here, that's Tedros. That this is talking about preparing for disease acts. So people are like, or some people may go, well, where's that all coming from? Well, actually, they just had a forum, and here it is at the World Economic Forum in Davos, and they were talking about it. And they're talking about what to do and be prepared. They did this exact same type of formula forums and kind of like role playing is still ticking. Wow. The battery went dead. I think I've come back to it. We'll see if this is working. Oh, which one was I doing? So yeah, that was kind of bad timing there. The battery went right on out. So if this came back in, we'll see how this comes out on it. I have no idea what happens if when the battery goes like that. And I just popped it in. I might have been able to salvage it, but why did this thing come off? There we go. Anyway, so I did want to talk about one other thing. If we're still rolling, and again, this is all one long test. All my live streams are really just one long test stream. Oh man. No, nuclear holocaust. I'm trying to make light of a very, very dark situation, but and this one here,
Your Excellency.
that's Davos right there. So you can listen to what they're talking about, and they're like I was saying. Is that working? I'm not sure if it says it's clicking. Oh no! Ever since the battery went down, I'm not sure if it's going. But the one thing is the bill to defund Davos, and that is it came up through that's Owen Schroyer. And so you got right here, this is Scott Perry. So it's Congressman Scott Perry that proposed it. This is January 19th, so it was yesterday. Today, U.S. Rep. Scott Perry, Pennsylvania, District 10, joined by Representative Tom Tiffany from Wisconsin, Paul Gosar from Arizona, Diane Harshberger from Tennessee, Andy Ogles from Tennessee, Matt Rosendale, I think that's Montana, introduced the Defund Davos Act. The bill would prohibit the Department of State and United States agencies for international development from providing any funding to the World Economic Forum. It's brilliant. I mean, let's just shut it down, okay? We shouldn't be funding it. It doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to do their creepy lizard shit, but let's shut it down. Forcing American taxpayers to fund annual ski trips. I guess I gotta double check. Let's put you on that. You probably still can't read it. It's so tiny. Put you on annual ski trips. I don't know if that helps. I enlarged it a little bit there. So here's the quote from State Rep Perry. Forcing American taxpayers to fund annual ski trips for insular global elitists is absurd, not to mention reprehensible. End quote. Quote, the World Economic Forum doesn't deserve 1 cent of American funding, and it's past time we defund Davos. End quote. Hosted in Davos, Switzerland, the World Economic Forum annual conference brings together CEOs, world leaders, and their officials to discuss elitist dystopian ideas like global solidarity and eating bugs to solve world hunger. Eat the bugs. You will eat the bugs and be happy. Throughout the years, the U.S. has spent millions to fund the forum and its anti-American conference. So that is the presser. He's got a little bit more there. When you click on the actual bill, I think it's like 10 lines. This is the cleanest, smoothest House resolution bill to prohibit funding for the World Economic Forum. It's 9 lines. Being enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, Section 1, short title, this act may be cited as the Defund Davos Act. Section 2, prohibition on funding. No funds available to the Department of State, the United States Agencies for International Development, or any other department or agency may be used to provide funding for the World Economic Forum. Okay, so bravo, right? Bravo. I mean, it's brilliant. And if anything, it's sending messaging and signals that we don't like you globalists and we don't appreciate. We know what you're doing. We know what you're trying to do. And you've got a special forum on disease X. Right as we're hearing about nurses in Colorado being given Ebola boosters in live shedding type of scenarios, therapeutics, regimens. I don't even know if you can call that therapy. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not giving medical advice. All right, the YouTube censors, they got to keep me on track. I got to talk about cooking food and the perfect meatball, or they're gonna just cut me and they put me in timeout, and I can't do anything for months and months, or weeks and weeks, and then months and months. It's pretty brutal, and it's ridiculous because we should be able to discuss all of this. There's a reason YouTube is tanking. There's a reason they can't sell advertisements. There's a reason they're laying off everybody. It's the same reason that they done that to Meta. They're willing to sacrifice the profits even, and layoffs to follow the orders. That's pretty sad, but so that's Scott Perry. I wanted to mention that. I saw that on InfoWars, Owen Schroyer. I always get his last name weird. It's like Schroyer. It's best just to call him Owen. And then AJ was also talking about this yesterday. These were all Friday. And it's a pretty big deal. Even if we can't pull it off, it's a pretty big deal. So here's Owens right here.
Now is the time to make the decision. I know there's millions of forms of media out there and all this BS, and the globalists hope you get lost in all of it. But notice that
this is the kind of stuff where you pick up your laptop, you log on to the internet, pick up your phone, you email your local representatives, you dial up your local representatives, and you tell them, get behind this bill. Defund the World Economic Forum. Sign the Defund Davos Act.
The silent majority is no longer silent. This is The War Room with Owen Schroyer.
Please stand by for further details. We're taking now to your regularly scheduled program.
Well, we've seen Donald Trump tell the World Economic Forum and the corporate global government, communists, fascists, like it is to their face. We've seen Bolsonaro. We've seen Milei. We've seen some other interesting comments from Davos this week. Jamie Dimon doing an about face. We've also now heard from the CEO of BlackRock. Another mic drop moment, though, to start the show from Kevin Roberts. He says, here's my message to the self-appointed global elites. Your time is up.
It's laughable that you would, or anyone would describe Davos as protecting liberal democracy.
It's not letting me skip ahead. It's gotten all glitchy. So that guy's really good, but that's not on point of what I wanted with the actual defund Davos. So it's on band.video. Take a look at that there. And I think that was it. I think I wanted to do it's just a quick, short, sweet one. Stick with the music, the solar flares. Now there's incoming. So, like I was saying with the let me come back to here. Like I was saying with the CMEs, that's going to affect electromagnetic energies. It's going to affect satellites used for war, used for peace, used for war too. Communications and all this. It can also affect people's in a time of war is what it affects me. What my biggest concern in how this could affect all of us is what I'm trying to say. It's going to affect you. It could affect you personally, or it could affect other people. Just like it, I'm not saying it's anything unusual. Just like it always does when these energies come through and they come and affect the globe, they have these type of, sometimes it's not as positive as we would like, disruptive factors. Okay. It also, I'm just stating the obvious. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It also is connected to earthquakes and volcanic activity. We have like 40 volcanoes erupting. 40 all over the globe. We're in really intense times. Tonga, the great Tonga volcano that blasted billions of gallons of salt water, is still going to be circulating Earth for years, that water and that gas, the sulfuric and all the rest of it. That's what many ice ages are made of. And you just look through your history books, look through the scientific data on the ice core samples where they show and talk about volcanoes erupting, that we can see the change, and we can see where things get cold, and we can see where just about everything dies off. More people die from global freezing type dynamics than they do from the heat waves. It's just a reality check. And clearly, America and the Pacific Northwest in particular, not prepared for any little bit of ice. Even a 3/4 of an inch of ice in the wind brought down thousands of trees, killed dozens of people, put hundreds and hundreds of people into the hospital from slips. So what happens if we get a few weeks of that same type of ice and snow and months of it just caking up and shutting down everything electrical. We have to think about these type of scenarios. Nuclear holocaust is going to be a lot quicker than the volcanoes, but it's a similar dynamics. So sorry to be on a doom and gloomer, but the data and things that I'm reading right now, Russia's buzzing along Israel. Israel is doing assassination exchanges, dueling assassinations, whether it's Al Qassam Brigade, the Lebanese, the Iran, what was it? Some liberation front. I mean, who knows who is who? There's all these little anarcho-com religious fundamentalist sects that are heavily armed, thirsty, hungry, and angry because we have been intentionally provoking them, and it has to be on purpose. I can't believe that grown men and women could be so ignorant as to do this on the brink of a nuclear holocaust and not know what they're doing. Which is worse? The fact that they do know what they're doing, or that there's a possibility of incompetence that they don't know what they're doing? We know they know what they're fucking doing. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's easier to control people when they're at war and they're savaged and they're hungry and starving and thirsty and desperate. It's just basic facts, and we got to examine that deeper. So be safe, man. Be safe. Heads up. Heads up. Not just about the CME, but you can just feel, if you can't feel this whole vibrational force. The one thing I didn't mention was Pluto. Pluto does a zodiac sign like every 20 years. It is the strangest little, and it's actually two things. It's like two little spacecrafts, two little mini spacecrafts that are on its own orbit. It moves very, very slow. So Pluto has done a full rotation of the zodiac in 247 years, exactly in where it's at in the sky when the United States of America was born. Okay? So it's almost like Pluto return and the rebirth of that same type of intensity and global unrest that Pluto was in 247 years ago. And it's now, Pluto is clicking in as we're speaking right now. It moves so fucking slow. I mean, most planets are zipping around, right? In through the zodiacs. Pluto clicks 20 some on years, like I just said, repeating myself, into Aquarius. I believe officially tomorrow or right now. Like it's midnight. So that's why I'm saying now. It's Sunday. So is a whole nother layer, and it's pseudoscience. I know it's junk pseudoscience, but you can't really ignore it on a higher intergalactic, interdimensional level. And people were talking about Pluto last year. Well, it moves so slow, and it's in that dynamics that it's not just like it's 1 month or 1 weekend and Pluto does this and it's affecting America and affecting the globe on that state of revolution and independence and of the casting away of the autocrats and the monarchy and the British and fuck all this shit, that the beauty and magic of what makes America, saying fuck all that shit. That energy is here. And Pluto, in all of its weirdness and uniqueness and its own wobble and its own route. I mean, if you've ever taken a look at it, it's not even, now they're saying it's not even a planet. It's really like two chunks of a giant spacecraft. I say that jokingly, but who knows, right? I mean, I don't know. It's very odd, but it's coming around, and so that vibration, for whatever it's worth, that's happening on top of World War IV. I say 4, Everything's reversed, so I have to do everything. It's World War IV. I say four, and I've said it before. I think World War III's already happened. We're now seeing an amplified. We'll see a nuclear exchange. I believe, unfortunately, this World War IV ends in a nuclear exchange. We got to get smart, man. We need to. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. It's right out of Matthew, and we really need those people to step up. This is not a time for warmongering, war skanks, and never Nikki type of, Bolton type, John Bolton type of lunacy. Lindsey Graham, Senator Graham, fuck you guys. We need peacemakers, and that's what the spirit world needs, and that's what God needs. Be blunt. So focus on that, pray on that, and this will touch bases probably tomorrow or Monday. Okay. Peace out. God bless.